What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. We're actually going to be trying something new in this video since I want a way to be able to make videos from my stream that isn't just stream highlights. So bam, here I am, and we're going to be talking about just how good Kindred actually is. All of these games you're seeing were played on my stream, and I'm trying to stream as much as I can now, so around 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes even more. So definitely check it out, I'll have a link in the description. So Kindred as a champion is something that's shaping up to be a jungler, or at least Riot's trying to sell them as a jungler. And at first I thought she wouldn't be that great because the AD carry playstyle is something that doesn't really match up with the jungle role, but her clear speed and her sustain in the jungle is something that is actually quite fantastic, especially if you kite the camps properly, which I probably didn't do, but if you do kite the jungle camps properly, you're going to avoid a lot of damage, and with the sustain from her W, it's going to result in some pretty nice clears actually. And I also thought her ganks weren't going to be that great, since her crowd control is kind of lackluster. It only really is a 70% slow that lasts for 1 second, however her damage actually contributes a lot to the gank power that she has, and it's really strong because you can slow your target and then kill them with the proc on your E, and if you're ganking for a lane or for your teammate that has some crowd control, it's really strong, and the ganks are actually quite powerful. I really expected them to not be that good. And so her main weakness is definitely the playstyle that she brings of being an AD carry in the jungle. And so this means that when you pick her in the jungle, it's going to kind of leave like this open hole in your team, because you really want junglers to play sort of like a tanky or bruiser initiator role for a team, and Kindred is never going to be able to provide that because she doesn't have the initiation power in her kit that you might want from a typical jungler. So you absolutely have to play her with a tanky top laner that can initiate teamfights, or maybe a support that can initiate teamfights who is also tanky, because otherwise your team is really going to lack that frontline presence in teamfights, and that's going to leave a very big weakness in your team composition, which is something that can actually have a very big impact in teamfights and make teamfighting sometimes almost impossible depending on what your opponent's team comp is. She's definitely a strong jungler, but the AD carry playstyle is not something that really works that well in the jungle role, and it's definitely a weakness that she has as a champion. So your team comp has to make up for it somewhere, or you're going to have a very big weakness in your team. But there were a couple of things that impressed me a lot in her kit, the first one being her passive. Now I didn't expect much from it because the ability is actually pretty complex, so I didn't really understand what it did, but it actually gives her a lot of damage, and it's a little bit slow to stack up and can be pretty annoying at times, but when you get some stacks rolling, it's going to give you a lot of damage, especially versus tanks, and it's surprisingly powerful. And secondly, her ultimate is, of course, totally insane. It's completely ridiculous. It's honestly just so overpowered in a lot of situations. It can be quite difficult to use, and I know I certainly messed it up a lot if you saw me on stream. I'm not trying to say I'm a good Kindred player or anything, but the ability itself just has so much potential in your fights. It can do so many things, and it makes Kindred a permanent counter to assassins basically. So Kindred's going to be a really strong pick in any assassin meta that ever happens to come up in the game, because her ultimate does such a good job of just protecting people on her team. It's a great counter to assassins, and it just pulls out some crazy strong options in some scenarios, and the ability was really impressive and is honestly probably overpowered. Another thing I also tried was Kindred in lane, so I tried her in the top lane and as an AD carry. And this is a champion that Riot is absolutely trying to sell as a jungler, so I didn't really expect her to be a good laner at all. But again, I was impressed with the power that Kindred had, because her laning phase, her poke isn't that great, and she's kind of short range, especially for an AD carry. Her range is only 500. But in top lane she was quite strong, and even as an AD carry she was quite strong too, because her trades are quite powerful, and she actually has a decent amount of damage in her kit. And it might be harder to stack up your passive when you're playing in the laning phase, but her lane presence is definitely there, and she has some okay wave clear with her Q, and has some absolutely fantastic sustain with her W, which was really impressive and is something that could be very useful in a lot of matchups. And I was able to make use of in pretty much any lane I played her in, and it really had a big effect because you could go for a trade with your opponents, and her trading potential is quite strong. So you trade, proc your E, get some Qs off, and then maybe you go even in the trade, or you only win it by a tiny bit, but your W is going to carry you in the sense that you're going to heal up to full health, and your opponent's going to be stuck, you know, popping their health potions, healing slowly, and probably definitely isn't going to heal as much as you will with your W. and it's something that you can proc quite constantly. You just push the wave and get some really awesome heals. It heals for a lot too, so it's something that I think makes her laning actually quite powerful. And I expected lane Kindred to be completely unviable, but it impressed me, and it's something that I think is definitely going to be played and is definitely a viable option. So that's going to be it. I'm interested to see what you guys think of this style of video. I'm not the best at talking into a webcam, but I do enjoy this kind of style. I want to try it out. It's something that we might be doing a little bit more in the future if you guys enjoy it. And really, it's the exact same content without a webcam than it is with a webcam. It's the only difference is you get to see a little bit more Jeremy, a little bit more me, and I like that a lot. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Check out the streams, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Her body's gold like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all fine. Sunny day dreams and we up now. Vodka lemonade, I serve it up, it goes down. 75